And I'm going to just shoot a question in there if it doesn't distract you. As one of the few, if not the only, living anthropologist that has literally touched every part of black civilization in different parts of the world, what is the main thing you see commonly being used against us to keep us from unifying? Just like the untouchables, and in many instances, the black people in that land have been oppressed. What is holding us back?
I don't know if there's any one thing. I think that what we must develop is what Marcus Garvey would have called a race-first philosophy. It doesn't mean you got to hate other folk, but I think that we have to look within and begin to promote our own self-interest, and we're very reluctant to do that. You know, I hear people say, I was going to come to your lecture, but I didn't want to offend my friends, my family, my husband. I thought I wasn't going to get the job promotion if they saw me in the audience. So I think that there's a tendency to become very defensive and self-deprecating, and I think it works to our disadvantage.
Okay.
Can I get a picture with you?
Sure, why not?
Yes.
Will you
Now, the philosophy and opinion of Marcus Garvey is here. The great Dr. Amos Wilson left the black blueprint. So the knowledge is here. So what's preventing us from acting on all this great information?
Application of the plan. It's not the plan, it's the application. That's the hard part. Because that means changing basic aspects of our lifestyle. And that tells me that we're not really quite serious about African liberation yet.
Not serious, not mature enough, not what
not
else?
Serious enough.
Okay.
We're not prepared to make, for example, I get invited to churches and people say, Dr. Rashidi, we love you. And I say, what about that white Jesus on the wall? Well, maybe you won't be invited back here again. Or I'll say, black men, a brother will say, well, Dr. Rashidi, I love your work. And I'll say black men should be with black women. Well, I couldn't help who I fell in love with, and I don't like you so much after all. You know, and so it's not the plan, it's the application of the plan, and I think that that's where we fall short. My last wife told me that. I've been married twice. My last wife said African liberation is great if you don't have to stay up too late. You don't have to be gone too long.
Wow.
You know, so, I mean, we put these conditions on African liberation.
Right.
And if we're serious, we like to say, what, war has been declared on us, we're at war, but we're not on a warlike footing. And we don't take it seriously. I'll come to the lecture if the game is not on. And I don't have to go too far. And if I don't have to spend any money, and if it's not too cold, and if it's not raining, and if it's not too hot, and if I'm not too tired, that's not a people serious about African liberation. African liberation cannot be when it's convenient or it's easy. It has to be, this is what my commitment is, and this is what I'm going to do, and nothing is going to get in the way of that.
Right.
Anyone else?
And next, so what do you think of today's Generation X? Do they have the fire in the belly? Have we transitioned enough information for them to make better decisions that will lead to our continued liberation?
Who is Generation X?
I would put them between, 10 and 20, approximately.
I don't see the evidence of that.
No evidence.
I do not think that, for the most part, we are serious people. I know that doesn't sound good, but I think a lot of us have the belief that somehow, one day, it's all going to work out in the end. And there's no guarantee of that.
There's no guarantee.
We have to work for it. We have to say,
Right.
Yes.
And we are right now on a land that genocide has been committed on in the Native American, and so we know genocide is real. In what pocket of the earth would you feel the most optimistic where black people are making a stand to reclaim their civilization?
giving your calendar away, man.
Who is doing it best around the world right now out of the people you've seen?
I think African Americans are in the most advantageous position. They have more wealth than any other group of Africans. What we lack is consciousness and organization. We have more freedom of speech. I could not give the lecture I gave today in most of Africa because the governments of Africa are afraid of the people.
Wow.
Anyone else?
Wow.
1 second. He wants to
Let me do this one.
1 second.
Yes.
Whose calendar is this?
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Mark.
And you made a very powerful statement earlier, or it might be a saying, to those who believe, evidence is not required. For those who don't
No, I
believe,
heard
too
that
much evidence is not
on a
enough.
television show.
Oh, okay, so you did hear it somewhere.
Criminal Minds.
It's so much wisdom to it.
The quote is, for those who believe, no proof is necessary. For those who don't believe, no proof is enough.
No proof is enough. I don't know if you are aware if there's a current discussion, believe it or not, debating certain aspects of the slave trade. And you mentioned also some debates aren't even worthy of discussion. But there's a large group, a large and growing group, calling themselves aboriginals to this
I
land.
think they're lunatics.
So
I need to add any elaborate.
So their facts, their science is not based in anything reliable.
It's based in anti-Africanism.
Interesting.
I'd rather be a turd in a toilet than an African. So I'm an Aboriginal, I'm a Moor, I'm a Hebrew Israelite, I'm a whatever.
So you believe all of those belief systems are a step away
I
from
think it is
acceptance?
not thought out, and I think it's very destructive to our community.
And it may
Because
even be
we're trying to build global African unity.
right, Pan-Africanism.
So when a person says, I ain't no African,
Right.
I'm an indigenous, it's just ridiculous.
Wow,
And I
wow.
have zero tolerance for it.
So are the true leaders of Pan-Africanism not making a strong enough position that people can be so easily swayed by the great numbers? Because there are large numbers of folks ascribing to this belief and trying to disconnect from Africa.
There are people who believe that the earth is flat.
True. Flat earthers.
Haile Selassie is still alive. And that Jesus is in heaven waiting for us.
True.
And I'm not going to argue with you. Hey, Dr. J. Where's another case?
And I know to get ready to wrap up, but for those sincere brothers and sisters that might be in a belief system that distances them from their African origin, what hope or what suggestions could you give to them?
Come to your senses and read and study and don't accept things based on blind faith. You know, I mean, I wish I could give a more compassionate response, but I don't have compassion. I think it's just stupidity. And I'll just call it like I said.
Okay.
All right.
And lastly, how can we support you? Do you have any social media presence? When are your next lectures? How else can we support you?
Anybody can always reach out to me via my website, which is drrunoko.com, drruno.com. You can email me at runoko@hotmail.com. You can go on my tours. You can buy my books and calendars and DVDs. You can make a contribution. You can organize lectures for me.
Excellent.
So there's any of a number of ways you can do some support things.
Excellent. Thank you for being so gracious with your time.
Thank you very much.